Yo guys, what's up? I want to share with you how I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3 when it finally comes out tomorrow on August 3rd, at long last after 3 years of early access. I have played the game before in early access a couple of times, but I am mostly unspoiled on much of the game. I know a couple of the mechanics because I wanted to learn how 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons works, as this is going to be my first major game where I'm using that system. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what kind of character I'm going to be playing, what kind of class, what kind of race, my alignment. Even though Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't follow typical alignment rules and classifications, I'm still role-playing to be a certain character, though I'm able to adapt to the events that are going to be happening and surprising me and acting as I would. I've considered many different characters to play as during this time. Am I going to be choosing a particularly bloodthirsty character? Am I going to be a very lawfully and a law-abiding character? And in the end, I've settled on something that feels most fun for a first playthrough. I might be doing another playthrough, and that's going to be roughly playing as myself. Though, of course, it is in a fictional world, and if I was actually in this fictional world, I would probably run away and scream in terror rather than dealing with every challenge like the true hero that my character is most likely going to be. So it is not exactly me, it is a glorified, nobler and more courageous version of myself, but it is roughly going to be within the realm of how I see the world. There will be a background story which is totally not at all based on mine, as you'll see when I share it with you shortly. We're also going to take a look at the latest community update, number 22, which is from this week, from yesterday in fact, July 31st, and we can see there might be some light spoilers in there as well, so if you don't want to see spoilers, check out the chapter, we can skip the spoiler part. In fact, I already spoiled it by showing that window, so we'll edit that out. Alright, cool. So let's jump into it. First, I'm going to be talking about the character that I'm going to be playing. And of course, I was initially quite attracted to playing one of those cool drow females. And I do think there is a lot of, eye candy in there and roleplay in there as well. And I mean, it's a beautiful model. But I'm actually going to be playing as a guy that somewhat looks like me. For race, I've settled on one of two things. Either I'm going to go as a male drow, who also look extremely cool, a male drow, and I want to try to see how this looks like when the game actually comes out. Might go for half orc as well, because I play a lot of orc characters in different games, so half orc could be quite nice. And I think there's a really cool aspect to playing an orc that are generally seen as beastly and a bit more evil or something, a bit more wild, but then trying to leave that part of the past behind and doing better. So orc or drow is going to be my selected race. For class, I'm going to take that which is closest to my personality growing up and to my chosen profession in life as well, which is actually going to be bard. I'm going to be donning the bard. I'm going to be coming up with my lute, my violin, my lyre, my hand drum. I'm gonna be going as a bard. And I might multi-class later into something such as fighter or warlock. Warlock, of course, shares a lot of charisma benefits together with bard. And I've always liked playing warlocks in different games. And fighter can be nice because of the action surge bonus that you get at level 2 fighter, which is going to be super, super useful as well. And I am going to be playing on the hardest difficulty in the game, which is going to be Tactician. I think there's one more hard difficulty where when a party member dies, they're dead forever. I don't know if Baldur's Gate is going to be employing that. I don't typically go with that. On that note, though, of not being able to load the game when someone dies, which some games do utilize, generally it's called hardcore, I want to have a small note on the amount of loading that I will allow myself. I actually had a Larian developer come into my Twitch chat while I was playing the game of Divinity 2 Original Sin, which is the previous game that they made, and they said you should absolutely allow yourself to load games. The game is better that way. And since I'm most likely only playing Divinity Original Sin 2 once, I think loading certain conversations, certain choices, allows me to see a wider spectrum of the game that normally I would not be able to see because I would have to replay the entire game and then 60 hours to get to the same point to make a different decision. If I was planning to dedicate 5, 6, 700 hours that some of my viewers have played on Divinity, I would not reload choices as much, but I've been doing more of it there because I only play it once. For Baldur's Gate, I definitely can't know for sure how I'm gonna do it. I may do multiple playthroughs, and because of that, I'm gonna be a little bit more rigid with reloading. I want to feel the consequences of my successes, and I want to feel the consequences of my failures likewise. As such, when there are going to be dice rolls that have a definitive outcome on things that happen, whether I can acquire a certain party member, whether I can complete a certain quest, I'm going to lean heavily towards accepting the consequences of those actions, accepting the consequences of the dice roll, even if the alternative seems to be very rewarding, because I believe that I can probably complete the game, even if sometimes it's going to be harder, even if sometimes it's going to be the more difficult route where the dice roll does not favor me. As such, I will lean towards fewer reloads rather than more. Though I'm not going to be rigid and say that I'm not going to do it entirely. For instance, sometimes I may be using a movement command during a combat that I didn't mean to because I misclicked. I wanted to hit a portrait, but now I walk into an area, I aggro a mob, I didn't mean to go there. I'm going to be honest in those situations and be like, I didn't mean to go there. I did get info that I walked into an ambush now, but I wasn't going to do it. So some reloads are allowed, but for the most part, I'm going to lean heavily towards not accepting consequences. For those that are going to be watching my playthrough on Twitch or YouTube, you're most likely aware that you could experience some spoilers if you're also looking to play the game yourself, but for the joy of experiencing it together, you've chosen to watch me play it. And as such, you may also be playing the game still, but accepting that you'll see some spoilers through my gameplay. You may have information that I do not have and think of sharing it. For instance, there is a treasure I missed in 10 minutes into the stream, or there's an interaction I don't understand that is explained later in the game. I'm going to lean towards generally not having those be spoon-fed to me. So I'm trying to avoid spoilers for myself, have like a true playthrough. It's great to hear about like how warlock spells work, how sorcerer spells work. I don't think that's in any kind of major spoiler. But if you're the person that some people have expressed themselves, if you're a person that feels like it's irksome when Grubby misses a treasure or loses out on a cool storyline, then I bid you to forgive me and to allow yourself to miss out on that experience, because someone else will, maybe you will, maybe another streamer will, right? And mine is going to be a more true playthrough of my single time playthrough. So I'm totally fine with making mistakes and missing treasures, because I may catch them on another playthrough. And I think that's what it's in the end all about when you're role-playing and Dungeons & Dragonsing and Baldur's Gate 3ing, is to do it your way and to play true to your character. So I'm going to be focusing on that. We're not trying to 100% the game. So when it comes to playing Bard, there's going to be some choices. You can become a Bard, I believe, a School of Valor. What was that, the Bard? We'll decide on the different direction. I think at level 2 or 3 you can choose what kind of Bard you're going to be. We'll tackle that as the game goes on. Then as for backstory of my character, I'm going to be playing one of many siblings. The name of my character is going to be Graz Toril. Graz, Graz, is a Slavic term, which means small castle, because he came from one. And Toril is market square. And, well, I am going to be high on charisma because I'm a bard. It's from Finnish. And I'm hopefully, I will be the talking face of the party that can do good mercantile skills and so on. And I thought the name sounds kind of cool. Then he is the youngest of 6 siblings. Grostaril felt the desire to perform the arts early in life in order to stand out in a crowded household. Not many took a great interest in him, so he vowed to excel in music, in the performative arts, acrobatics, in first and foremost to be seen, and secondly to be appreciated. The alignment is going to be something like neutral good. I try to do good and enjoy the presence of people and help people whenever possible, so I'm not going to be a murder hobo like I was in Divinity 2, but I'm not 100% a law follower either. Things have to make sense in order to do things. And my wish is to bring smiles and laughs when I go around the world, and of course to solve crimes and to solve the quests and so on and so forth. Then when it comes to the challenges that I'll face, if I'm a half-orc, one of the challenges will be prejudice. And the same thing as a drow. Though I won't be a Loth worshipper drow if that's the race that I choose, I would be a Seldarine drow. And another challenge is going to be that I'll be adopting the Dark Urge origin. And I know very little about it. I know a little bit about it, but not a lot. So that is going to be a challenge that will definitely put to the test both the alignment and every single decision that we end up making. And I say the decisions that we end up making. I will also be, of course, using the Baldur's Gate 3 extension, the Baldur's Gate Companion, the Twitch extension. And in it, if you follow me on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Grubby, then you'll be able to vote which dialogue option you think I should be going with, and I can take it into consideration, though it is still very much a grubocracy and not a democracy. So we'll see what people want me to be choosing. That's pretty much the kind of character that I'm looking to be playing. Which allies I'm going to be picking up along the way, I cannot say exactly yet, because I want to judge everything by its own merits. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be there on release. The game will be releasing on August 3rd. You can see a map of the release schedule right here. Ghent in Belgium, or Ghent as they would say, I guess. That's my time zone, same as Amsterdam, 5 p.m. So on August 3rd, I'll be live at this time minus 30 or 60 minutes in order to be there and start hanging out. And then when that time comes out, well, they've already said there's not going to be a preload, and supposedly the game is something like 120 gigabytes big. So we'll spend a good amount of time transferring data together, and we'll play whenever it's available. So I'm looking forward to that. On the final end of that, let's go take a look at the community update. Again, this could be a spoiler, so if you don't want to know anything about what's inside the mind of every character that plays this game, now would be a time to phase out of the video. If so, thanks for watching. Sub to the Grub. Helps a lot when you sub to the YouTube channel. And I'll see you guys on stream or here on YouTube. For those that are staying, let's jump into it. Community update number 22, Power of a Mind Flayer. Happy launch week, folks. We hope you've printed out your lawyer-approved special dispensation form to explain your mysterious absence from work on August 3rd to your boss. This was hilarious. Where did they link this? I thought they linked it on their Twitter. This doesn't seem to be a link to it. Oh, there we go. There it is. Hi, Larian's legal team here. Launch day is nearly upon us. Have your Baldur's Gate 3 adventuring plans been thwarted by the forces of obligatory labor? You may be eligible for special dispensation. Give this note to your boss. They'll understand. Request for special leave. To be completed by the employee. Request a date for special leave. The undersigned hereby request special dispensation from regular duties for Baldur's Day. As fate would have it, I'm compelled to answer a calling to gather my party and embark on an epic adventure. Well, that's the good thing. I don't need to ask for special leave. I just need to ask for leave from Warcraft 3 and Dota 2 for a bit, which I probably will be doing. I can imagine I'll be maining this for a bit. So we'll see how that goes. But make sure to sign this form, guys. Back to the update. After 6 years in the making, Baldur's Gate 3's PC launch is right around the corner, and we couldn't have gotten here without you. So let's have one last community update before then to wrap things up, answer some of your biggest questions, and reveal a few final surprises before you finally get stuck in. When we announced and launched Baldur's Gate 3's early access back in 2020, we ran with the line, "Mysterious abilities are awakening inside you, drawn from a mind flayer parasite planted deep within your brain." And since, we've never really expanded on what this meant mechanically. We hinted right from the get-go that mind flayers would be the central pillar in our story, which we've explored many times since then, but now it's time to explore how it ties into the RPG systems of Baldur's Gate 3. While these creatures may be a source of great power, all that they offer comes with a cost. As the parasites' host, you must make a choice. Will you resist the powers and the corruption that comes with them, or will you embrace them, risking your body, mind, and soul to save the realms or destroy them? I wonder if this is going to be a game where there are multiple endings. I have not yet ended Divinity Original Sin 2, so I don't know how Larian ends their games. And please continue not to spoil me on it. I've been blessedly free from spoilers about how the game ends. And I know this is a bit of a Barbra Streisand moment potentially, but I think the community is good enough not to do it. Again, not tempting fate here, but I am impressed that I have no idea yet how it ends. And so I don't know how Larian ends their games, but I know that the way that they begin it and that how the middle can go, they've said 100 plus endings. That's amazing. So maybe you really could destroy the realms or save it. That's amazing if that's the case. So these creatures offer a source of power. Will you embrace them or resist them? And they said there's going to be a cost. So while it may seem tempting to embrace the powers of the symbiote inside our brain, or the parasite I should say, it's really not that altruistic as a symbiote. There's going to be a cost. So I wonder what kind of power you'd be losing out on, or maybe you lose out on alignment or judgment, right? Maybe you lose out on social strength. I don't know. And when I look at the character that I'm going to be playing, I don't think I want to have it. I don't think I want to use it. But just like Daniel Olival in The Foundation from Isaac Asimov, sometimes you need to, in order to do the greater good and to save the most amount of people, a smaller subset of people need to get hurt, even if it is by your hand, even if that person is me. So it will be a difficult decision to see if even within the intent of neutral goodness, in order to save the realms, I may need to do a few things. Just like Illidan in Warcraft had to embrace the demon inside of him in order to save people from the Burning Legion, even if he was never appreciated and sometimes not even understood for it. If your desire for power outweighs your concern for the well-being of anyone else, or if you simply think psionic levitation would be a really neat party trick, Illithid powers may be for you. Illithid powers are a hidden skill tree used to enhance your command over your newfound Illithid capabilities. Those who wish to harness the parasite's power must first find more of these parasites throughout the Forgotten Realms. They could be in jars or brine, and you must consume them. Well, that does sound fun. Each parasite consumed unlocks one new Illithid power within a skill tree of 25 powerful Mind Flayer inspired abilities. You know, I feel like we could save the realms a lot better if we gain these powers. I do feel like it would be a great boon. If we use it for good, then perhaps the corruption of my morality is a small price to pay. Purely for good. These are divided into 5 branches themed around manipulation, health restoration, psionics, and abilities that can inflict immense damage and torment enemies. I mean, we'll try to limit tormenting enemies. We'll try to humanely dispatch them most ASAPly rather than tormenting them, to gradually weaken them over time. Some abilities can be used to control those around you, pushing them to say things in dialogue, forcing harmony between two otherwise antagonistic characters. Right? If we use mind powers to force people to say things that lead to harmony between two people. Is that really a bad thing? How bad can it really be? Others endow you with the power to push and pull enemies like ragdolls during battle. Of course, to save them from traps, from guillotines and whatnot. You can even become a displacer beast. The deeper you go through the illicit skill tree, the more powers you'll discover, but nothing comes without cost. While your companions can also consume parasites to gain their powers, not everyone in your party will agree to it, and your companions' perception of you can undergo a significant shift based on how you approach this opportunity. Things can also get a bit more complicated, but we won't spoil it, that's for you to discover. And then, announcing Baldur's Gate 3 Twitch drops, you can get the Steam Hopper Loafers, the Channeler's Trunks, the Chatterbox's Tabard, and the Periwinkle Undergarments. You can start watching. Basically, I think this is exactly when the game comes out. Or 1 hour after. Probably roughly when it comes out, or exactly. And it lasts for 2 weeks. Twitch drops. Purple in the Twitch style. You think they're going to have red undergarments for YouTube drops? But you can support your favorite streamers. You just need to watch for 2 hours and then you get it. Meet the phenomenal extended cast of Baldur's Gate 3. So these are some characters that I don't really want to go look into too much yet, because I'll meet them later. And so I'll be mostly skipping this part. Then let's go to this. In Baldur's Gate 3, you have the freedom to respec not only your chosen protagonist's class, but also those of your playable companions and pre-authored origin characters. Whether you're looking to make a few adjustments to their existing build, or you've got a burning desire to experiment with entirely new playstyles and class combinations, or you want to create an all-Badger supergroup. Keep in mind that origin stories are closely intertwined with their characters' respective classes. If you're opting for Shadowheart, but you change her away from a cleric into, let's say, a fighter warlock, this will undoubtedly influence your roleplay options in dialogues and the overall narrative for these characters, but their stories will then be yours to create. And they also mentioned that sometimes people, other NPCs, will refer to Shadowheart as a cleric, even though, you know, technically by your changes she no longer is a cleric. Because of that, it may not feel as roleplay accurately, but at least you'll be playing with the character that you want. So it's you either change it or you don't. Therefore, you keep the autonomy of the gravity of your choices. Launch day. So just how big is the game anyway? What time should you expect the game to release? August 3rd, 5 p.m. Belgian time. And the equivalents are here. 122 gigabytes. And early access saves are not compatible. And in fact, your early access installation will also not transition to your launch installation. We've also been receiving questions for those who already purchased the game about replacing your PC key with a Mac one. Purchases of Baldur's Gate 3 made through Steam or GOG come with both PC and Mac access, so you're all good. Cross-save compatibility. Through virtue of our own accounting system, a cross-save is compatible at launch. This will continue to be the case through 6th September PlayStation 5 launch, meaning that, for example, if you want to play on your PC or Steam Deck, you can continue your adventure on your PS5 in September. Nice. Do I save money if I pre-order now? You don't save money on the game, but you do get a free digital deluxe Moaxi. Whether you're playing on PC, Mac or PS5, you'll be able to upload your saves to the cloud. Is it gonna run on Steam Deck? You can play Baldur's Gate on Steam Deck and it looks rad. He's dreaming. We recommend trying out your preferred method of anti-aliasing. 4K system requirement and ultra wide. So what do you need for running it in 4K? What kind of graphics card would you need? With a good CPU and a GeForce 3060, you can play Quad HD. You can play 2K 60 FPS. Okay, this is my resolution. And I have a 3080, so I should be good. Native 4K will require double fill rate, so we recommend using a top-end GeForce 4080 or 4090 or AMD equivalent. And of course with DLSS, you can reach 4K with lower requirement. Thanks to the wizards at Nvidia. Romantic Alchemy. Finding love in BG. Oh yes, I was wondering, can two non-Origin characters romance each other in multiplayer? That's a question I had. But first let me answer a question from chat. Yeah, I'll link you. They answer it. I know they answer it. I pre-read this. The deluxe edition comes with digital artwork, digital soundtrack, etc. Just a bunch of cool digital stuff. I believe that the heart does go on. Was she referring to the love lives of D&D characters? The writer says yes until proven otherwise. Many of you have asked about your opinions in romance, as well as your options in romance, as well as the limitations you can set for yourself and that we set for you. Throughout your journey, you'll forge genuine connections with those you venture with. These can flourish into relationships that add gravity to every decision you make in game, and you're free to pursue them through deliberation, choice, and consequences. However, you're also able to back out of them at any moment, change your mind, or fall in love with someone else. What's more, in some cases, you can even form polyamorous relationships. To offer further clarity on exactly who can romance who in BG3, we've laid it out. A played Origin can romance an NPC Origin character. So if you decide to play as Shadowheart, your main character, you can romance Gale, who's also an Origin character. An NPC Origin cannot romance an NPC Origin. NPC Origin? Okay, so if you play as whatever, doesn't matter. You can't have two of your newfound party members romance each other. Played Origins cannot romance other player Origins. Played Origins cannot romance... Oh yeah, so two multiplayer created characters. Played Origins? What's a played Origin? Oh, they call everything Origin, isn't it? So if you make your own character. I think if you completely make your own, player playing an Origin character cannot romance other... Oh, okay. Yeah. So if I choose Gale and you choose Shadowheart, we cannot romance each other. I didn't pre-read this, I pre-listened this. Yeah. But they don't go into whether two player-created non-Origin characters can romance each other, but the answer is also, of course, no. Because those don't even have such voice lines. Right? However, you can romance each other in real life after playing Baldur's Gate 3 together with whatever character. That's always possible. It can be via Discord, it can be in real life. Our relationship system is designed for romancing NPCs only. However, if you and your co-op partner both kiss your monitors at the same time, the static shock you'll experience produces a heart-racing effect similar to the feeling of love. If you begin to feel pain or numbness in your limbs, please go to a hospital immediately. This is not true in the Netherlands. If you have any ailment, you first have to contact your GP. They will then refer you to a hospital. Netherlands pertinently does not want you to come knocking at a hospital before being referred to by a GP. But okay, this might be true in emergencies. Untangling dialogue. Whose line is it anyway? Many eagled chatterboxes have noticed that BG3 allows you to look back at the dialogue history while you're in conversation, in case you've forgotten what you've said, or wanted to realign your train of thought. You needn't worry about forgetting about what you've said, thanks to the ability to look back at the conversation and get a sense of where you're at. We've got your back. Doom scrollers, do not worry. On the topic of Doom and chatter, we get a lot of questions about how conversations work in a party of 4. So we thought we'd lay out some scenarios that explain how it's handled. The character who initiates a conversation hosts it. In multiplayer, other players can witness the conversation by clicking on the appropriate icon or character. Yeah, I've tested this. There's a little ear over the character. And then you can check the options that they're doing. And when you play multiplayer, you can also choose which dialogue option you want. And it'll then place your character's name with a highlight over that dialogue option, which you then can ignore or go with when you're playing together. The host is free and often right to ignore other people's choices. What if I enter conversation with a character who has the wrong proficiencies for the choices I'm dealt? This depends on a few things. When conversations are started unexpectedly, the character who initiated whatever led to the conversation will host the conversation. That character's proficiencies will therefore be the ones used to decide the fate of the conversation. If you run around a corner and bump into someone unexpectedly, you are going to be the person who will have that conversation. In some cases, you can back out of it and re-enter it with another character. In others, fate works as intended, fatefully. Our dialogue systems are designed to feel organic, like they would in real life. Really? Do you guys have organic conversation in real life, or is it awkward and stilted and stunted? Because I'm 50-50 sometimes. Depends who I'm speaking with. I don't go outside, but there you go. Awkward. Where there's agency in life. It's because of low charisma score? Yeah, but it can be trained, right? Of course I have normal conversations. Gang, gang. Wow. My life just flashed before my eyes. There's agency in Baldur's Gate 3. When situations are more fateful, you've got your wits and your proficiencies to untangle them. In multiplayer, you will also have the option to set dialogues to private, so your teammates won't be able to listen in on them. Perfect for romance or betrayal. Whether it's based on race, class, or other proficiencies, it's important to remember there are no truly wrong answers, but there will be plenty of consequences. The story, in the long term, will be defined by your choices and the consequences of your actions. You will always have choices. Trust the dice. It'll always show you a good time. 3 more days. And by the time you guys see this on YouTube, 1 more day. And for Twitch, 2 more days. Thanks for watching. This was my Baldur's Gate prep. I'm so looking forward to it. I haven't been this hyped for a game in a long time. 2 more days. And then it's time to go. See ya. Sup to the grub.